All right. Hey there, everybody. Thanks for being with me today. This is a channel all about home projects, and I also do lots of home product reviews. If you're just joining us, welcome. And don't forget to subscribe if you're interested in more home projects around the house. Just a regular guy trying to save y'all time and money out there, making your place a better space to be. So in this video, which starts right now, we're going to be taking a look at how you can clean your work mask, your respirator. Now, this is just a common like $12, $15 mask. I bought it about 10 years ago. So I'm going to show you how this has held up over the years, give you a visual tour there. You can see the one-way valves, the little rubber one-way valves there that I'm poking around at, and also the silicone kind of masking around that creates a seal around your face. This is kind of what it looks like. You can see it's kind of scuffed up over the years, but overall it has generally held up well, and we're going to be taking it apart and cleaning it will be the big problem that we're going to solve today. You might want to ask yourself, or might have asked yourself, how do you clean your garage mask, right? Your workshop mask. Now, in no means, obviously you can buy yourself a brand spanking new one, but the mask itself is pretty durable and it holds up, I think, well over the years. But if it's trash, if it's too old, you might want to consider upgrading to something like this. And I'll put links down below for a new one if you're interested, like this one. It's a 3M, and also some cartridges that I think are really comprehensive and will block a lot of that nasty stuff. Now, I am no professional whatsoever, so whatever I say in this video, please use your common sense and do your research and do diligence to make sure you buy a mask that's appropriate for your work needs, right? You don't want to buy something that's under protective, and you certainly don't want to buy anything that's maybe overprotective, spending lots of money. So we're going to take off the cartridges here, and you can see we've got some kind of initial filters that stops your larger particles and whatnot. And this is over about 10 years. I have not cleaned this thing for a decade. And just look at this nasty stuff, right? Now, the last 5 years of this mask, I've probably been poisoning myself. But I'm finally getting around to cleaning it. So here's what the protective plastic casing looks like around that particle filter. And you apparently can get replacement filters for this. It comes with, or should come with, the cartridge. I kind of had a hard time finding them. So what I'm going to do is ultimately upgrade, because these things they can last and you can get those replaced whenever you want. But the gray filter there, you can see the actual inside of the gray filter has an expiration date. So you're going to want to check that. I understand they can last about 5 years and you should replace them. Here's what I'm talking about. Get a closer view here. We're not going to be taking this part apart. I don't know what's on the inside. And I kind of tried to get it apart, but I couldn't. So here's that silicone mask. Like I said, these are 10, maybe 12, 15 bucks, and they're going to last you a really long time, really common parts, well made, if you go with a reputable brand. Here's another look at that cartridge, and they all kind of assemble just like this. The black protective coating with the particle filter goes on top of the gray cartridge itself. There's another look at all the gunk and whatnot from the other one. So we've got two of those, one on each side. And here is the basic mask. So what we're going to do to start cleaning this thing is, as you've seen, disassembling it, right? Taking the cartridge off. Now, you're not going to put the gray cartridge in the water at all. We're going to be soaking everything else. So we're going to take off the straps. And the straps have, by the way, also held up well, just dirty, but no tears or anything like that. And it's elastic, so you'd expect it to maybe break or stretch out and kind of crack in places, but it really hasn't. I use this thing quite a bit, just for common, things around the house if I'm cutting wood out in the garage and whatnot. So we're going to just use some regular Dawn soap, and you'll want to get a container big enough to submerge everything. Mine is just slightly, maybe a little too small, but whatever. Could still get it a good dunking here. There we go. Get it nice and submerged. And we're just going to let it sit for several hours and let Dawn do its work. We're also going to rinse off the straps. Get all that loose contaminant off, and we're going to dunk that as well, as best you can, anyway. And this is a really comfortable mask, by the way, that big kind of U-shaped plastic kind of thing, part that goes around your head. It's a really comfortable fit. And we'll take the black protective casings for those particle filters. and dunk those. Now, as far as these, they're really delicate. If you can't find replacements, or if you're not interested in replacing them, you can just take a very soft bristled vacuum attachment and very, very delicately, as you can see I'm doing here, kind of work those bristles into the folds a little bit. Not too hard. You're going to tear. It's just a very kind of delicate cloth-like material. Kind of reminds me of tissue paper. And just kind of push them up just a little bit, get those bristles in there, and vacuum all that stuff out. And that's going to make a huge difference. Well, it did for me anyway. There's a closer look at the clean vacuumed particle filter. We'll do the same thing with the other one. Now, apparently I had gotten in there a little earlier and put a piece of tape on it. I'm not really sure. That was something I did years ago. But anyway, this is kind of the cleaned, what it looks like. Now, we'll go back to that Dawn. Look what it's doing. It's loosening up all that nasty grime that's just accumulated on the mask. All parts of the mask, basically the plastic and the silicone over the years. So with that kind of loosened up and soaked for several hours, look at all that crap on the inside too. Now, dirt shouldn't be on the inside, but this is probably just buildup from it sitting in my garage. You know, after you sweat, you leave, sweat on the inside of it. And then if it sits in an upright position, it's going to collect dust. Over time, it's going to create residue on the inside. So it's not that the mask isn't working. So what I'm doing here, just delicately with my fingers, kind of getting all that grime off, rubbing it off. You could certainly use a soft bristled brush if you have one. You don't want to damage those one-way black rubber circular valves on the inside that you saw earlier. So be really careful there. That's a potential weak spot. And we'll take these black protective casings and just give those a little rinse and scrub with a little brush or by hand. That'd be fine. And then the straps. There's that really comfortable head strap. And then the other one will be the elastic adjuster strap. These have elastics on the end too. You can adjust everything to fit really well. So everything's clean. Here's the leftover gunk. Look at the discoloration of the water. So that Dawn really loosened that stuff up and made it really nice and clean. And we'll let everything dry out. Of course, you'll have some lips that trap the water in, so you'll want to make sure most of that water is out of there before you sit it down to dry. You don't want any pooling. And a little tip, if you want to put it in front of a heater vent, that might, depending on the temperatures outside, if it's too cold for it to be sitting outside to dry, put it in front of your heater vent and just let it, a few cycles should take care of it. So now that everything's dry, we'll go ahead and reassemble it, put it all back together. So let me show you how this works. Pretty simple. We'll take the particle filters there, very gently put them back in, make sure they don't have any kind of gaps or anything, and we'll pop them back over the gray cartridges. And they just kind of sit like this, and with one twist. I've only got one hand here, so I'll put the camera down, and you can just twist it, kind of a quarter turn twist. We'll secure it into place, and we'll put the straps back on. This particular mask, the straps go through just like this. This is the kind of the lower neck strap. It's going to be your main tightener to get that seal. And then your head strap will go on the top too. And that is pretty much it. Very clean. We do have some paint, of course, from spraying and whatnot. That has not been removed, but everything else, all that nasty grime and stuff, look at that. Beautifully clean, like new. Of course, if your cartridges are too old, go ahead and upgrade, buy yourself an entirely new one. Other than that, you should have a clean mask that works. Thank you so much for joining me for more videos like this. Be sure to subscribe.